What's up, cellar dwellers? This is Overlord Dan, and this is our last installment together. It may not be the last installment of the Movie Sellers Month of Horrors Cheap Thrills, but it is my last installment. This is my 10th movie. So, if you've been paying attention, you know we're calling this series Cheap Thrills because all the movies that we've watched this month were each purchased at the Dollar Tree for $1 each. They've ranged from fantastic to terrible. And we picked them. We did a draft to pick them, and then we actually random number generated in what order we'd release them in. And it just so happens that the random number generation was in our favor, and our last installment for each of us was our first pick in the draft. So the movie that I'm going to talk about in this installment is the movie I picked first in the whole entire draft. So obviously I thought very highly of it. If you want to listen to the draft or check out our show, we're on all the podcasting platforms. Fucking Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, fucking Spotify, Pandora, I don't know, FM, hard FM, radio, love stuff. I don't know, man. I don't know where you listen to podcasts, but I bet if you listen to podcasts somewhere, then you'll find the Movie Cellar there. We have, like I said, we have our draft on there. We have a bunch of other shows on there where we talk about all kinds of classic movies, horror movies, and all kinds of other ones. So check us out. You might like it. And without further ado, I give you my number one pick in the month of horrors, Cheap Thrills, Chilleramma. Chillerama. Chill. So the deal with this movie is it's an anthology. And basically what happens is the movie starts with a dude who apparently is going to force, or he's going to commit necrophilia by forcing his dead wife's head to perform fellatio on him. Well, come to find out, she's not dead, she's a zombie, so she bites his dick, and now he's like some kind of weird sex zombie. And there's like, instead of blood, it's like blue ooze. So whenever you see the blue ooze, you know sex zombie weirdness is going on. Well, then he goes to work. He works at a drive-in movie theater. So this is where it becomes an anthology. Because he's like, I'm not feeling really great, but they're kicking off a series of movies that night. All like trashy B horror movies. First movie is called Wadzilla. And is it about a giant, evil sperm that is destroying a city. That is what it's about. Then that ends, and they cut, and you see people things are starting to go bad at the drive-in theaters. People think the blue goo is slushy mix, and so they're kind of like, it's kind of getting handed out to a bunch of people, and they're all drinking it. Bad stuff. Second movie, Werebears. This feels like a Grease kind of spoof deal, but also like a werewolf movie. But also, these werewolves are gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There's not. The only thing wrong with it is that they kill people. Not because they're gay, because they're werebears. And the only way to kill them is with a silver dildo. Obviously. Makes sense. Cut from that movie, back to the drive-in scene. Things are getting progressively worse and worse. Go to the third movie. Very tasteless, this one. Very questionable. This made me go, eeh. Diary of Anne Frankenstein. Yeah. So Anne Frank is apparently the granddaughter of Dr. Frankenstein. Hitler finds out about the Franks, goes and finds them, and wants to steal her grandfather's like secret formula to bring people back to life. So he makes a Frankenstein monster, but the Frankenstein monster is Jewish and doesn't, doesn't want to work for Hitler for obvious reasons. It's all in German, except for Hitler speaks like gibberish that is supposed to sort of sound like German, I think. But I heard all kinds of weird phrases like Osh Gosh Bagosh, and I think Boba Fett even was mentioned at one point. So he's just supposed to look really stupid, but that was tough. Cut back to the movie. They're starting the fourth movie. Cut back to the drive-in scene. They're going to start the fourth movie. The fourth movie, what the fuck was it even called? I don't know, but it was just about people shitting everywhere. But this one doesn't actually even happen because they started off and there's shit happening everywhere. It's really weird, like literal shit. Like people, it's this video, like just people shitting. But the video, this fourth movie gets cut off short because the guy running the film at the drive-in, he's attacked by the zombies. The whole thing, everything's fucked. The whole drive-in theater is overrun with these sex zombies. They're banging each other. They're pulling off people's dicks. They're pulling off people's heads, making them give them oral sex with their severed heads. They're ripping bodies apart and fucking their lower halves. It's a mess. It's disgusting. And that's kind of where it wraps up. Oh, it ends with a couple, the only couple still alive in the drive-ins, and he doesn't want to die a virgin and to become a zombie sex slave. So she helps him lose his virginity before the zombies get them. But the zombies are just all over the car. They're humping the car. They're trying to like pull their dicks out on the car. I don't know. It's weird. That was Chilleramma. And then actually that cuts to a theater, like an indoor theater. So you find out the whole movie you've been watching was a movie, including the whole drive-in element. And there's guys talking about it. Well, come to find out, the four guys talking about the movie are the four directors of all of the short films inside the movie, which is kind of cool, kind of meta. Chilleramma was a weird but pretty fun, really unique watch. It leaned heavily into its campiness. It was very tasteless, but very funny. Including the special effects, including the acting, everything was goofy as hell. If you're down for that kind of deal, I would highly recommend it. I think I watched, my last installment was All Hallows Eve, which was also an anthology, but that one wanted to be like real serious and heavy. This one wanted to be fun and goofy, and it was really fun. And I kind of wish I had had the chance to watch it in a drive-in. I love drive-ins. We go to the drive-ins all the time, and so there was some fun sort of, there was some fun play about the drive-in theaters that I'm like, yeah, that's good. I like that. The concession stands and the bathrooms and all that different shit that you have to deal with. And just that sort of culture, the drive-in movie theater culture. So, check it out. It's fun. It's funny. It's ridiculous. I'm going to go through the categories now. And I got to hurry. This video is going to be very long, but it is my last one, so I don't feel too bad. Categories. Each one. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs to the side. I think you can interpret that pretty obviously what those mean. Gore. I'm going to go thumbs up. Thumbs up in regard to itself. It was goofy as hell. But like I said, there was a lot of limbs being pulled off, a lot of blood and guts, dicks being pulled off, boobs being squeezed to explosion, blue goo and blood everywhere. Great. Fantastic. Music, thumbs up. It had this like really cool like 60s, 50s, 60s sort of like pop, sort of like, I don't know, like I said, the second movie was like Grease, and it was actually a musical. It was hilarious. The music fit the movie very well. Ambiance, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. The movies, the short movies inside the film, they sort of looked like they were shot on video or like they were being watched on film reel. The filter, I assume it was a filter, it wasn't real, but they did it well, and it looked natural. It didn't look like it was shot digitally and then fucked with. And then the ambiance at the drive-in was fantastic. You know, it was dark, it was like foggy and all that shit. Good. Creativity, thumbs up. I love the idea of this film. I love the way it was put together. I love the homages to all the different movies that it was picking fun at, you know, from like specific films that were quoted, you know, Indiana Jones and Spaceballs and Predator. I mean, literally like tons of movies were quoted. But also like the style of horror films from like the 50s and 60s. Great stuff. Suspense and scares, obviously thumbs down. That's not what this movie was. It wasn't supposed to be scary or suspenseful, and it wasn't. So I give it a thumbs down, but it's not really a knock on it. That's not what it was supposed to be. Lasting impact, thumbs up. Thumbs up. This was a great, campy little movie that I'd be happy to share with my friends and laugh along with. I think if you watch it a few times, there's some great lines in there that you'd probably pick up on and, you know, become part of your vernacular. It's not really one to talk about with the family, you know, on Thanksgiving. Like, oh yeah, I just watched this great movie with Anne Frank and Frankenstein and Hitler and people's dicks getting ripped off and giant killer sperm. But in right company, it'd be a great talking point. Maybe not Thanksgiving, unless that's the kind of family you got, in which case, good for you. Overall, big thumbs up on this one. Big thumbs up. Probably not my favorite movie that I watched during the month of horrors, but definitely one of my favorites and very much worth that first pick. The cover art alone is beautiful. And as you watch the movie, you actually start to understand what all those little pieces are. Anyway, thank you guys for watching these. I hope you've had fun. I've had fun making them. I'm sure the other guys have had fun making them. Tune in. We're going to do a wrap up where we talk about the movies we were excited about, the movies we were disappointed with, the ones that were scary, the ones that were funny, you know, just kind of like go over it and finish it up. And if you want to watch last year's Month of Horrors, that's also here on our YouTube channel. And we also have a wrap-up of that one on our show. So we got all kinds of good shit. If you want to hear my voice more, you want to hear these guys' voices more, there are hundreds of hours of us on the internet. And you can listen until your heart's content and then some. Anyway, have a fucking fantastic Halloween. Do some scary shit. Do some fun shit. Do some funny shit. Just have fun and enjoy yourself. And until next season, my name is Dan, Overlord Dan, and you've been watching The Movie Sellers Month of Horrors. Cheap Thrills. Ding, 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 ding.